All right, everybody, you are getting the post-Matrix job, oh holy crap podcast this week because I don't have time to set the whole studio up. We've got a bunch of stuff set up in the barn. We're working on things. So you're with me in our home gym. Welcome. So we have just kind of had the whole world melting down in the last few days, and I figured I would address some things because I'm concerned. I've been concerned. I've voiced concern to friends. So now I'm going to voice my concerns on the internet today. So welcome back to the Green Egg Girl podcast. I'm glad you're here. So my biggest thing is the last several years, and I've said it to many people, you could ask my friends, my biggest concern has not been a civil war or World War III. It's that it's going to be both at the same time. And we are so quickly approaching that I'm a little scared. So I figured I'd at least bring that out and get some other people looking at it because, again, I have concerns. So we've been in a verbal and online ideological civil war for almost a decade in this country. We are so divided as a nation that it's just astronomically bad, and we get further divided every day because there's always something new, and it's just not helping. So, you know, we're sitting here, we're as divided as ever, if not more, and there's more riots. So we all kind of tolerated it in 2020. We were all locked in our houses, you know, but I mean, the vast majority of America, we were over it. We really were. So, you know, we came out this past election cycle and radically voted for Trump, who said peace and no more civil unrest and mass deportations. And we're done with this stuff. America first. America's going to go back to being America again. And here we are. This isn't what I voted for. I don't know about the rest of you who supported Trump, but most people I've talked to have realized that this is not what we voted for. I want the riots settled by the Marine Corps. It's where I'm at. I'm tired of seeing innocents be hurt in our cities because people want to throw rocks off a bridge and behave like animals. Sorry. I don't care what skin color you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. If you go and you behave like an animal, you should be locked up in a cage like an animal. Period. Point blank. Done. The Marine Corps should be in there. It should be done. Why is it still going? Why are the riots spreading to other cities? Why is Trump backing down off of the plan we all voted for? Because people are calling him a king. Suck it up, Cupcake. We're done. America's done. And this is the biggest issue. If you don't use the government to shut it down like we voted for, the biggest problem is that the American citizens, your law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens who are so sick and tired of this nonsense, are going to start coming out and shutting it down themselves. And that's a dangerous situation to find yourselves in. I'm not threatening violence. I'm not advocating violence. I'm actually advocating for the government to do their job that we pay taxes for and shut down the civil unrest before the crazy rednecks with guns decide to come out and stop it. Because the military is going to quash it quickly, efficiently, and with the least amount of catastrophe possible. If American citizens start to clash, you're going to see a much bigger loss of life, much more injuries to civilians. Shut it down. Just shut it down. We've been begging for it. This is year 5, okay? It's been going on since the end of 2019. We're in 2025. Can we shut it down, please? Because the American citizens have had it and they're gonna start getting crazy. And I'm seeing them online getting crazier. We've got people on the left and the right calling for civil war, and I would really like to not see people die. I don't want to be caught in the middle of it. I want the military to come in and do their job on our soil, period, point blank. I don't want amnesty for people who are only employed because they can be paid a lower wage and they don't call OSHA. They don't go after you if they're injured on a job. They just flood our emergency rooms so that Americans can't get taken care of. Okay? We shouldn't be using immigrants as slave labor because that's what they're being used for. I'm tired of the amnesty. We're sick of it. Okay? Send them home. Mass deport. Get them out. Okay? Americans are done. I live in Middle America. I hear this every day. It is insane that we're still having this discussion. No, Mr. Trump. No, Mr. President. We do not, under any circumstances, want amnesty for these people. We want them to get out of our country. We want Americans to get off their lazy butts and go do the hard thing. Because some of us get up every day and go do the hard thing. Actually, a ton of us get up every day and go do the hard thing. And then our pockets get picked so people can sit at home. And then you can complain and say, oh, well, but the immigrants do that work. Okay, how about this? Your welfare recipients can go work on the farms. They can earn their food and their housing by working for it on the farms. Problem solved. Learn a skill. Okay? Immigrants are mostly unskilled labor, especially the illegal ones. So, no, the American people have had it. We're done with riots. We're done with amnesty. We're done with all this nonsense. And then we get Bibi Netanyahu popping off across the pond. That's just great fun. Bibi Netanyahu's a very sketchy character, okay? The Israeli people on the whole are not the problem. They are actually trying to take down Bibi Netanyahu, and he keeps getting them into conflict after conflict and war after war to keep himself out of jail, okay? And the man loves to drag the United States into it. If you go back and you watch all of his calls for us to get into Iraq and into Afghanistan and all of that, and then you start understanding that, maybe false flags happen on our soil to get our good men to go fight and die for someone else. And you know what? We're sick of that too. I'm tired of seeing Americans in the desert. We don't live in the desert. We have an entire self-sufficient nation here that we should be firing up and providing stuff for ourselves. We were literally in Afghanistan for poppy fields, guys, so that we could get Americans hooked on heroin and opioids and kill them out in mass. Will you wake up, please? Americans are done with war. We voted for peace. Americans are done with illegal immigration. We want them gone. We're done with rioting. We want peace and prosperity back. And we just keep getting led further and further into hell. And now there's pushes for World War III. Again, we've been on the brink of it forever. The problem is, if you start getting us into it, we're going to be fighting about that on the home front too. So this is the thing. No one in America agrees on basically anything, except for the vast majority of people who came out and voted for Donald Trump and for his policies, all of which he's now gone back on. Okay? So, like, the one thing that you actually got the majority of the country to back, you're now walking off on, which is insane. Like, objectively insane. So, let us all take a collective deep breath And remember, we don't want to be in a civil war on the home front. We don't want to go to war for a foreign nation. But our government needs to step up and do what we voted for. When you win the popular vote and the electoral vote, that means the vast majority of Americans liked what you said on the campaign trail. And what you said on the campaign trail was what we expected. We don't want the big, beautiful bill that lets AI go completely rampant for 10 years and can kill off humanity. That's not cool. We don't want a social credit score system and Peter Thiel digging into all of our information and putting us on blacklists for Lord knows what reason, because it's not always going to be Donald Trump in the White House, and it's not always going to be Republicans in charge, and we shouldn't be going after each other on any front that way. We should actually be getting our privacy back instead of selling out more, because guys, we're still taking our shoes off at the airport. That's crazy. We have already given up so many of our rights and so many pieces of our privacy and our dignity, all for threats of terrorism that the TSA has never actually once stopped. It's all humiliation rituals, and it's all for us. So let's stop continuing to give them more power. So no to the big, beautiful bill. No to Palantir coming in and taking us over and watching our every move. Because I'm sorry, guys, I put my stuff on the internet. I know the rest of you all don't want to. You actually probably expect some level of privacy from the government still.